welcome to Fictional Narrative. I'm Neri. Today I'm going to be wrapping up my month of February. It's been a while since I've done a wrap-up video, so I wanted to add a little twist and tell you which book I'm keeping and which books I'm unhauling from the ones that I've read this month. So the first book that I read was In Order to Live by Yomi Park. I picked this up when I was visiting my boyfriend in Ohio, which I never bring any physical books over there, but I end up coming back with like a ton of them. So this book was a 5 out of 5 for me. I don't know very much about North Korea, but this book was about the author, her family, their life in North Korea, their escape from North Korea, and how they were reunited. And I thought this story was absolutely incredible. It really gave me an insight that I never had because North Korea is so closed to the rest of the world. However, I will be unhauling this book because of the author herself, which I'm not going to say that every single author that I have on my bookshelves is unproblematic. I know that there are ones that are really problematic that I don't even have knowledge about, because I go for the story. I don't necessarily always look into the author. But Yomi Park is a humanitarian. She works as a humanitarian. And she is someone who does have influence in the world in that way. And after seeing a series of interviews with her and the things that she has to say, I'm just not comfortable with keeping her on my shelf. And so this book is going to have to find another home. The second book that I read for February is Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. It is beautiful. It's tiny. It's what I could make time for. I'm not going to do any kind of reading shame for myself. I will say this book is a 2 out of 5 for me. It is supposed to be horror. There are a lot of elements of like Japanese ghost stories, legends, storytelling elements, and it's very, very cool. So the story follows 6 friends who fly out to Japan, stay in this haunted house to celebrate because 2 of them are getting married. And the house is haunted by a ghost whose groom never made it to the wedding, essentially. And so there is some talk about there being sacrifices for that ghost. Cassandra Khaw writes incredible descriptions. It is so beautiful. But if I had to give an example of something that I've read that would look better in a visual medium instead of in text, it would be this book. One of my biggest problems with this book is characters. The main character whose perspective we're following is named Kat. She starts kind of hallucinating a little around the house almost every time that she's alone. She starts seeing all of these like spooky things, spirits, ghosts, but nobody else does. And within these 6 friends, there are a lot of confrontations with them because now they're all getting together and 2 of them are getting married. They basically have little scenes of confronting each other without fully having the conversation, without coming to an understanding, without coming to a compromise. The only thing that they seem to agree on is the fact that they're going to keep all of their entanglements a secret. For the most part, what I was getting from this book was that they're now essentially strangers and the tension is so high they're at each other's throats. Mind you, the tension is high. They're also making incredibly strange, drunken decisions. Kat is able to see these spirits, but outside of the description of those spirits, nothing really happens to add to the overall, like, horror element of the book. The second thing that I didn't like was the resolution. I felt that it was accepted way too easy. Not only by the main characters, but the family of the main characters. Like, when someone is just gone and you're just so willing to accept that, it's just strange. So essentially the book sounded promising, really didn't build up to anything for me, and then gave me no payoff for the nothing that it built, which absolutely makes sense. But I don't know, maybe it's just not my cup of tea, and it's something that somebody else would thoroughly enjoy. I would watch it. I would not read it again, so I am going to unhaul it. My last read for the month of February is Fierce Fairy Tales by Nikita Gill, and it is elegantly written. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. It's basically like little poems and stories based off fairy tales, so you have alternate endings, alternate explanations. It is an incredibly beautifully written book. So I am unhauling this book, but the problem is not the book. The problem is me. Alternative to fairy tales, retellings, things like this was something that I delved into in high school. And I think Once Upon a Time came out when I started college. So I'm pretty like, this subgenre is very, very, very saturated for me. I'm kind of done with it. And I know I purchased this book in 2019. And maybe if I even read it then, when I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the leap and try this again and see if it still captures me the way it used to, maybe I would have enjoyed it. But me right now, I know that I didn't, and this was just a case of incredible stories, incredible writing, but it's the wrong time for me on this book. So it is gonna have to find a new home. Okay, so that was 3 books for 1 month. Again, I'm not gonna shame myself for not reading a whole lot. I feel like 3 to 4 is usually my average. And so if you made it this far, thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye!